You know, I have counseled and coached hundreds of couples, and I can tell you which one fail or succeed based on time spent with them. You see, my friend, there's a hidden pattern that shows up every single time, and if you are not addressing it right now, your marriage is already on borrowed time. This isn't about communication. It's not about intimacy. It is about something deeper that most couples never see coming. And here's what I see. Couples pray for breakthrough, but refuse to break their own destructive patterns and behavior. They want a different marriage with the same version of themselves. And here is the brutal truth from Proverbs chapter 26 and verse 11. It says, "As a dog returns to its vomit, so fools repeat their folly." I know that's kind of graphic. I know. But can I share this with you? You cannot have a transformed marriage with untransformed you. You cannot build a successful relationship if you're not willing to grow. Your marriage will never outgrow who you are. The marriage that you have right now, it is a reflection of the two of you. Your marriage will never rise above the level of your personal development and your personal spiritual growth. You can't pray your way out of emotional immaturity. It requires intentional actions. You can't wish your way into vulnerability. It is something that you create in a safe environment. Every couples I've seen divorce had one thing in common. One thing. They stopped growing while expecting their marriage to thrive. You know, my friend, that's why my wife and I, we create the Marriage Makeover Coaching Program. Not to fix your spouse, but to transform you from the inside out into the partner who built a marriage worth fighting for. A marriage you love showing up to. Because the greatest gift that you can give your relationship, to give your spouse, it's a healthier, wiser version of yourself. And my friend, the link is in the description, and I'll tell you more at the end of this video. But let's continue the conversation. Let me show you how this plays out. I had a couple who came to us. You know, they were married for 8 years, on the brink of separation. The wife said, "He never listens to me." The husband says, "Well, she's never satisfied." You see the tit for tat? You see the keeping score? You do this, I do that, I do that, you do this. They're just going on again, off again. Man. You know, it's just nagging. Same argument, different day. You know, I asked them one simple question. Who are you 8 years ago? And are you still that person today? Are you? And there was silence in the room because they were fighting with emotional tools of their 25 years self while trying to solve an old problem. That's what they were trying to do. You know, my friend, your old self cannot sustain your new marriage. And that's exactly why most couples are struggling. That's exactly why they are in marriage, but they feel stuck. They are trying to build a future with yesterday's version of themselves. And here's what most marriage advisors get wrong. They tell you to communicate better, do more date nights, pray together, and that's good. It's all good stuff. But if communication with defensiveness, dating with unresolved issues create resentment, you're praying while avoiding your own healing, then nothing is going to change. That's the problem in marriages today, my friend. Nothing is really changing. In Ephesians chapter 4, verse 22 through 24, it says, "Put off the old self and put on the new self, created to be like God." Listen, my friend, you must outgrow that old version of you that is reactive, that is avoidant, and it feels insecure. You got to develop strength and be strong in the Lord and understand who you are. That version can't handle intimacy. Oh no, it can't. That old person cannot handle what you are really aspiring for. So you need to change. Growth isn't about becoming someone else. It's about being you. But it's about becoming who God designed you and created you to be. so that you can build a better life, a better relationship, and a better marriage. I had to grow. I had to change. I had to become a better version of me. You know what marriages die slowly? The slow death, because one or both spouse refuse to grow. Oh, this is the way I am. Nobody's going to change me. That's just who I am. That's not who you are. That's who you choose to be. They won't break through without building. Come on. Result their current habit couldn't sustain because you're not building yourself. And that's why some couples have the honeymoon high phase and then it crushes and, you're wondering what's happening. They never built character required to maintain love. And here is the scariest part about it. The moment you stop growing, your marriage starts drifting. Your marriage starts dying. You don't notice it because it happens slowly. It's very subtle. Day by day, it's happening. But 5 years later, you're strangers sleeping in the same house, living in the same house, but sleeping in two separate beds. You're co-parenting instead of building a covenant relationship, a covenant partnership. You're surviving instead of thriving. In 1 Corinthians chapter 13 and verse 11, it tells us that when I was a child, I spoke as a child, I thought as a child, I understood as a child, but when I become a man, I put away childish things. Men are not born, only babies are born. Men are developed. You develop into a man, you develop into a woman. Your marriage demands maturity, and maturity demands growth. Yes. So what does growth actually look like? There are 3 non-negotiable Joan and I practice for 31 years of our marriage. I would say maybe the 28 of our 31 years of marriage, because the third year of our marriage, that's when we started to really have problems and start to figure things out. First, become a student of your own triggers. Yes, we figured it out. When you react defensively, what wound just got exposed? Growth means doing the hard work of healing, not just managing symptoms. You can't keep, doing the same thing over and over again, expecting you're going to get a different result. It just doesn't work. It's really understanding emotional intimacy, emotional health. Secondly, expand your capacity for discomfort. Everything you want in marriage, vulnerability, deep connection, true intimacy, lives beyond what's comfortable. Muscles don't grow, my friend, without tension or resistance. And neither will you. Neither does trust. James chapter 1 verse 2 through verse 4, it tells us to consider it pure joy when you are faced with trials, because the testing of your faith produces perseverance. It produces patience. Yes. And third, surround yourself with couples who are building what you want. Now, let me just say this. It's not about trying to be like them. It's not about trying to mimic or imitate them. It's about gleaming from them. It is about learning what they do, but apply it to your marriage, apply it to your relationship. Proverbs chapter 13 and verse 20, it says, walk with the wise and become wise. If your circle normalize emotional immaturity, then guess what, my friend? You'll absorb those norms. And you see, you have got to recognize this, that if you are doing things that is not right, it will mess you up. If you're following people who are not doing what you need to do or not setting an example for you, it's going to trigger and it's going to impact your life. Great marriages don't grow in isolation. They grow in intentional community. Healing happens in community. And here's a question that will determine your marriage future and your marriage success. Are you growing or are you repeating? Because every day you are doing one or the other. Every conversation, every conflict, every moment of tension, you're either evolving into someone more capable of covenant love, or you are reinforcing the pattern that is slowly killing your connection. You see, my friend, the couples who make it aren't lucky. They learn together. They are learners. They are intentional about their success. They read, they reflect, they heal, they evolve. They don't do it alone. They have a team. They have a community. That's exactly what we do inside our Marriage Makeover Coaching Program. We guide you through the personal transformation that leads to relational breakthrough. Not theory, practical tools my wife and I, Joan and I, have used for 3 decades of marriage. And if you're ready to stop cycling the same arguments, stop living in emotional survival mode, and finally build the marriage you were designed for, then the link is in the description in the show note, because you don't stumble into a great marriage. You grow into it. And so thank you for watching. Please like and share, hit that subscribe button. Thank you again, and may God continue to bless you. And I want you to check out this other video, because this is going to help you to build a better, stronger marriage and relationship. See you in the next one. Ain't it great?